Hello, everybody. I hope that your new year is off to a phenomenal start. Honestly, I have been so busy. I have had the busiest couple of weeks than I've had it's always pretty busy, right? Because I have a great business and I have lots of clients I support, and I like to create content and support my audience and all of that good stuff. But I will say it has been a particularly busy 2 weeks. I was joking with clients yesterday where I'm sitting and recording this podcast. I'm sitting in my just like my at my desk and in my chair. And I said to a group yesterday, I've been sitting here since December 26th. And it's a good thing. Like there's just so much great stuff going on in my business, in my clients' businesses, in the world of online coaching, in everything. So it's just that, new year energy and excitement, and things are blowing up in the best possible way. And I hope that they are for you as well. So, one thing that I thought would be helpful as we dive into the new year together is to talk about kind of the to do's and the definitely don't do's in the world of health and fitness or online business coaching marketing or online coaching business marketing. It's a lot of words all together. And I wanted to just share this because I think that the world of marketing can be really, really confusing. I was sharing this story again with a group of clients this week because I just want people to know that all of the knowledge that I bring to you guys, it has not come easily or overnight. It's been over a decade of learning and investing, well over 300K in my own personal growth and development and coaching and all of that stuff. So the things I know and the things I share come from all of that. And then they also come from, again, experience, observation, all of those things. So I want to just tell you guys, when I first opened my fitness boot camp and I heard the word marketing, I literally had no idea what it meant. I actually thought that it meant getting a billboard. That's what I thought it meant. Like you get a billboard and that's how you build a business. And I didn't know anything beyond that. And and obviously that's not it. Thank goodness I never went down that route. But when it comes to marketing and growing an online health or fitness coaching business, there's not just like one thing that you need to do. There really are a few different areas that you need to focus on in your business, right? So you've got to have online marketing, offline marketing, internal marketing, external marketing, evergreen marketing versus non-evergreen, organic versus paid. Like there's a lot of different ways that you can look at marketing, and there's not just one magic pill. There's not one magical thing that you can do to really build your business. I think it actually just takes time, strategy, support, mentorship, the right messaging, the right avenues, like all of that stuff kind of working together, syncing together. And it feels a little bit heavier and a little bit more complex in the beginning, but over time, as you get better and you get more practice and you follow a proven plan, it just gets easier. Okay. So, what I want to talk to you about is really 7 of the most common mistakes that I see online coaches make when it comes to building their businesses. So, we'll talk about what these mistakes are and what you can do instead. Okay. And really, doing any combination of these things can really kind of be a killer for your business. So, let's go ahead and dive in. So, fatal mistake number 1: copying other people's messaging and offers. Okay. And here's the thing is like, and this obviously, should go without saying, plagiarism is an absolute no-no. Always, if you have integrity. It is the internet. That stuff happens to me all the time. It happens to my clients because they are typically great content creators with the plan that I teach, but it is a huge no-no. I shouldn't even have to say that, but in case you were wondering. And I know it can be tempting to like look at someone else's business and be like, oh, I just think that they're doing so well, so I really want to copy this, or I want to do this too. And here's the thing is that when you see something that's working for a competitor or maybe someone that you follow online, yes, logic says do the same thing. But the biggest problem with this is it's a couple of things, right? It's lack of authenticity, but not only is your market, your ideal client, your location, service offering, all the things potentially really different from the person that you're modeling. But again, swiping someone else's approach is going to be inauthentic to you and your brand. And since the marketplace in the world today, I would just say, is craving authenticity and connection more than ever, why would you do something that's actually the opposite of that? And what's working really, really well for someone else may do literally nothing for you. It might produce just those crickets. And some things that you can do instead, right? So if you're feeling that temptation or that pressure, Spend some time getting to know your soulmate client, understand their pain points, their desires, and really truly understand the offer and the message that they need in order to say yes to themselves and yes to working with you. Then you want to think about getting clear on the channels that you need to most effectively reach your soulmate clients. And so just because Instagram works for some people doesn't mean that that's going to be the platform for you either. And I really want to encourage you to show up in complete authenticity. This is about speaking your truth, what you stand for and against, what's your philosophy, why it's different. And I want you to really think about being vulnerable and sharing your own struggles and how you overcome them. And I also really want you to be patient because marketing is a game of testing what works and what doesn't. And if you initially get the results you want, or sorry, if you don't initially get the results that you want to really test and tweak your approach until you do. It's not a matter of giving up. It's a matter of testing and tweaking until you find what works for you. And of course, getting help from a mentor who has expertise in these types of things is a no-brainer. So that is fatal mistake number one, copying other people's messaging and offers. Mistake number two is not having a niche or a soulmate client, which is the same. I refer to it as the same thing. It's just different terminology that I use. And you've heard about this problem before, but I can't tell you how many coaches that I speak to aren't clear on who they're serving and what problem that they are solving. And I think that business owners fail to identify a soulmate client or to refine that because they have some scarcity issues, right? Potentially like fear of losing clients, losing money, also having just like that fear of repelling people because they want to help everyone. And they also don't really understand what it means to have a niche, right? And a lot of the time, what I see is when coaches, like even if they're clear on who they serve, they don't necessarily understand the problem that they are solving on a very deep level. And they certainly can't communicate from inside the minds of your soulmate client. If you've heard me talk about messaging before, you know that that is one of the most critical things that you need to be able to do, to be able to speak their words, their thoughts, their experiences. Like you've got to know that person better than they know themselves, because that's critical for building a powerful message that connects to them and ultimately converts. And of course, you guys are all aware the online space, health, fitness, life coaching, all of that is just getting louder and more crowded by the day. And that's not to say there's not room for you, because there totally is, especially if you've listened to my episode on the 5% rule. But niching down, having more perfectly dialed in messaging, I think is actually more important than ever before. And your niche is what helps you create your messaging. And this is something I spend a lot of time helping my coaching clients with. So a couple of things that you can these are some prompts that you can ask yourself, maybe that will help you get more clear for yourself. So if I told a stranger who I help and what I do, would they be able to clearly picture my soulmate client? So are you clear enough to be able to articulate it to someone else, right? Do my content and messaging and offers consistently bring in new people? Because if not, then it's not working, right? Or maybe you just don't have the right audience yet. And do you know your soulmate clients inside and out, struggles, desires, thoughts, fears? Do you know them better than they know themselves? Because when you can uncover those things and you can clearly communicate them through your messaging, you become the clear go-to expert for the people that you're meant to serve, your soulmate clients, okay? All right, fatal mistake number three is trying to make everyone happy, which I have been guilty of, right? Because I'm a people pleaser by nature. I want to be liked. We all pretty much do. But the truth is that one of the fastest ways to just being generic and vanilla and sounding like everyone else in your marketing is to put effort into like not speaking your truth or not trying to offend someone. I'm not saying you are going to go try to offend someone, but so many coaches are so fearful of saying something that's going to step on someone else's toes that they just don't ever do it, right? And like I said, I get it. As a recovering people pleaser, honestly, I used to be terrified to upset someone when I had my boot camp, whether that was a client or like in my marketing or whatever. But what I've learned is that the truth is in order to stand out and really build a tribe of people who are your people, you need to be polarizing. You've got to be willing to speak your truth and say things that people may not like. And really, in fact, I believe that if you're not getting some negative feedback or unfollows every now and then, you're probably not being polarizing enough and you need to use your voice more. And it's not just about being polarizing for the sake of like stirring up controversy, right? It's about helping people better understand your heart at its core, your values, because that's what people connect to and that's what they're going to buy into with you. And so if this kind of resonates with you, here's a super quick exercise you can do. So you could write a list of 10 things that you stand for or believe in and 10 things that you stand against. Right. So it could be like, I stand against calorie counting or restriction or specific diets or things like that. Right. And then what you want to do is you want to use the most, really the most compelling, the strongest topics that you come up with to create social media posts, email content, and that kind of thing, so that you're able to let people know what you are about and what you hate about the industry. And whenever you're being polarizing, the most important thing is to say why, right? It's like back up the things that you're saying, and you are free to say and believe anything you choose. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, fatal mistake number 4, not marketing offline. And look, I get it's 2022. The digital world has taken over most of our lives, but way too many coaches, even with online businesses, want to sit behind a computer or on social media and hope that people just come to them. And here's the thing is that with very few expectations, unless you already have like a massive following, massive email list, if you're not regularly participating in offline marketing, i.e. relationship building in your local community, you're really stunting your growth and leaving a lot of money on the table and even minimizing the impact that you get to have in the world. Because I know that's why you're in coaching, right? So there are many things that you can do to market offline. You can do business networking, public speaking, creating strategic partnerships. You can participate in health fairs and things like that. Now, you're not doing all of these things all the time and every single day. You are doing them on, like I have a rhythm that I teach my clients that to execute on really all the digital pieces as well as the offline pieces as well. And I will tell you guys, the reason my bootcamp grew to 50 paying clients within 90 days of opening in a town where I didn't know a single person 6 months before. And the reason when I did for about 2 years online weight loss coaching, the reason that that was successful literally was my local community connections, right? Because I spent a lot of time doing that because I knew how important it was. They were really the launching pad of becoming the number one sought after fitness expert in my local town and really easily being able to find a buyer for my studio when I was ready to sell it. And as I said, a lot of the offline marketing I was doing when I started online weight loss coaching as well came from the in-person networks that I built. And I always say, like if you, part of the mentality that you have to have, especially when you're in the earlier stages of business, or if you don't exactly, if you're not exactly hitting your goals yet, is you've got to be kind of willing to do whatever it takes. And if putting yourself out there and being in your community and speaking in front of people is uncomfortable, guess what? You guys are coaches. Magic happens outside the comfort zone. So step out of that discomfort and into something that's incredibly powerful for your business. Okay. All right, the next thing, and we already kind of touched on this, but I really, so we talked about this more in terms of when we were covering like not having a niche and copying other people's messaging and offers, but I want to just go a little bit further into some messaging pieces. So this is not having alignment between your soulmate client and your message, okay? So you can't simply say what you feel, think, or believe about how you work with people, right? You need to make sure, again, that your messaging is from the mouths, minds, and hearts of your soulmate client. You don't want to guess about it. Don't talk about what's important to you. If you are working with the average adult population, your workouts, your food, your recipes, all of that stuff, like if you listen to the episode on look at me versus learn from me content, that's very much look at me content. So what we need to do is uncover what's deeply meaningful for them. And this is a process I bring all of my clients through, but I think you have all noticed that there's a lot of noise in the space. I did already mention this. And some people want to say, oh, well, messaging is not that important, or, oh, I get likes on my post or whatever. But the measure of success with your messaging is whether or not people are asking or is whether or not people are doing what you're asking them to do, whether it's schedule a call with you, sign up for something, join your group or whatever. That's kind of the barometer, right? So if you're creating content, you're putting out messaging and you think like you think it's dialed in, just check the barometer, which is whether or not people are actually taking the action that you want them to take, right? So if you really want to stand out, speak the language of your soulmate client at the deepest level, and just make sure that you do take that seriously, because there are competitors who will, and you've got soulmate clients to help, my friends, and I want you to be the one who reaches them. Okay. The next mistake is that you do not want to create content for the sake of content. So let me explain what I mean by that. So I actually believe that creating content has become more important, more powerful every single year. So of course, 2022, incredibly important. And in the first year that I had Authentic Conversion, I built it to over $300,000 completely organically through content marketing. But there's really a difference between content marketing that converts and just creating content for the sake of content. So here's what not to post. And some of this might be like counterintuitive, right? Like just generic fitness, mindset, nutrition education. Like no one needs more education and tips. They can find that stuff everywhere for free. Inspirational quotes, if they're not your quote, like share your own quotes and thoughts. I love doing that, but like not other people's. They don't want like cheesy stock images, endless photos and videos of your workouts and things like that. Like think about what people actually care about. And it's often not stuff that we actually care about, like as the coach, but you've got to give them what they need, or you've got to give them what they want and then bring them to what they need. So you want to share stories that people can connect to. This is your own stories. Maybe it's stories of your clients. You want to share some action steps for things people can do in order to get results. And you want to create, again, I'm repeating myself so many times because I really want to drive home the point about messaging, but you want to create content that speaks to the experiences, fears, objections, and desires of your soulmate client. Again, speaking to them from inside of their own heads, not generic content. We want content that converts, not just content for the sake of content, because that's just a waste of time, right? Okay, we're down to the last one. This is 7 of 7 fatal mistakes of the online health or fitness coach marketer, which is reactive marketing. Okay. And what happens is when, let's say you are like working your coaching business and maybe you get some clients and you get busy and then you forget to market, or maybe you just let your mind get in the way the whole time and you should be marketing and creating content and showing up and all of that stuff, but you're scared and it's overwhelming and all the things, right? And you just don't do it. So what I mean by reactive marketing is that often coaches start to market when they have 0 on the client roster or low on the client roster and low in the bank account. And so then they start marketing to grow very reactively, which is like out of desperation because they need clients in cash. And this leads to some problems. So first, a roller coaster of revenue. Right? If you want consistent clients and consistent income and you want that to grow consistently, be consistent in your marketing no matter what. It also creates the problem of like you end up communicating with your audience only when you want them to buy something from you and they leave. Like they're like, you know what, there's other people over here giving value and I don't just want to always be sold to. That used to work. Not anymore, my friends. You've got to nurture before you sell. And it can also lead to the problem of like making deals and offers and things like that that are misaligned to you with your vision, with your integrity, and with your business because you have desperation around clients and money. But here's the thing is when you have a strong, authentic, organic marketing machine in place that's working for you 365 days a year, you almost never run into these challenges. I'm never, ever wondering in my business where my next client's going to come from. The highs and the lows stop. You end up sleeping better at night. Business growth becomes much more predictable. Okay. So I'm curious if you can relate to these things. So if your marketing machine doesn't exist or you have no strategy and you just know that you're all over the place, then you've got some areas of opportunity, my friends. And I would love to help and I would love to support. So let me know how this sits. I hope this has been super helpful for you and that you can use what you've learned today to take action, to create constant, consistent, steady growth in your business and get off the roller coaster for good. And of course, if you need help with your content, you can always go grab my fast content creation formula totally for free over at accontentguide.com. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.